Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new command block tutorial. This video is going to be really focused on helping those of you guys who have never used commands before to just learn what commands are about. This is going to be a whole new series just focused on teaching commands to beginners. I know not everyone's at this point, and I know a lot of my viewers already know all the stuff that's going on in the video. That's perfectly alright. But the whole point of this channel is to help new people learn commands, and that's what I'm trying to do. If you guys have never used command blocks before, or you don't even know what I'm talking about, then stick around and you'll hopefully learn a lot. Because today I'm going to teach you guys just how to use commands. Simple as that. Now, the first thing that you're going to want to do is just in your world settings, whether it's a new world that you're making or whatever, you're going to want to go down just to your game settings, and you will need to activate cheats. This is what turns on commands. This is what lets you use commands. If this isn't on, then none of what I'm going to show you in the future is going to work at all. So you might be wondering, if you guys don't know, what a command actually is. So ignore these signs for a moment. What we can do in Minecraft, one of these really cool features that we can do, is I can actually open up my chat bar like you normally would if you're typing a message. Like, see, I want to say hi. Boom, I can just say hi. But make sure you guys are looking at what I'm typing in chat, by the way, for the majority of this video. You can see that if I do this / mark right here, I get a whole bunch of options that pop up on the side. Now, these different options are things that I can actually type in my chat bar that change the way the game works. So just a simple explanation. I can do time, set, midnight. All right, you guys see right now outside, it's daytime. I type this in, and I have night vision, so you can't really see it, I guess. You guys can see, boom, it is midnight. Now I can do a similar command, time set day, and boom, it's day. So what we're actually doing is just by typing stuff in, we can drastically change all kinds of things in the world. And that's just a minor example. So what are we doing? What is the commands? There's a basic structure for it, and I'm going to teach you guys what that is. We're going to start with the give commands. But before we even type that in, you need to know how commands work. So just pull up your keyboard. Now this works on Xbox, PlayStation, your phone, Switch. I play on Bedrock Edition on the PC. It's going to work on all of these. Just open up your chat bar, make sure cheats are on, and then type in this / mark. This / mark is the start of all kinds of commands. It's going to be the baseline for basically everything you're going to do with commands until we get to command blocks, but that's going to be a later episode. What we're doing here is we're telling the game, I'm not just typing a message, I'm telling the game that I want to change something about this world. So we have a lot of options that Mojang has already given us. We'll start with probably one of the most simple ones, which is the give command. So I can type in give. Now, I've told the game what command I want to do. The give command gives players or things items. So now I need to choose who's going to receive the items. So I'm just going to type in my name, and now I get to choose what item that I want to give. Let's give myself a diamond. Boom. If I now, having typed in give Guppy Duck a diamond, keep in mind I am Guppy Duck, that is important to remember, then boom, I just got a diamond. Completely for free. Now, let's say you guys can see it's just one diamond here. I'll get rid of it. Maybe I want multiple diamonds. So you guys can see how as I'm typing in right above my chat bar, it's kind of giving me some just giving me some stuff, such as give player target. So that's basically who I am as the player. Then it's going to give the item name. So that's why I typed in diamond here. So if you guys are reading, the next option that we have is amount, and that has int. So int means it's looking for a number. So if I want to give myself 10 diamonds, I just type in 10. And boom, I've been given 10 diamonds, just like that. Pretty simple. And that's how these commands work. Basically, the basics of a command are we type in the command that we want to do, and we just fill it out how it wants us to do it. However, here's something really important. You can't have typos. Let's say I want to Guppy Duck. I'm getting too many typos. A diamond. Nothing's going to happen. If I don't type in exactly correct, nothing is going to happen. And that is an issue. Yeah, because we want to be able to give ourselves stuff. So you do need to make sure when you're typing these things in that you don't have any typos whatsoever. But the basics for a command is you give a slash, you say what command you want, and then you just fill in what it asks you to give. Most of the time it's going to ask for a target, but not always. And we'll get into some examples of commands because I have a list of commands that are pretty common commands that are pretty simple and good ones for you guys who are learning to start out on. So now you might be wondering, what is this? I have an @A, an @E, an @P, an @R, and an @S. That's a little more complicated, but we're going to go right into it. So you guys notice that if I type in give, if you guys look on the lights on the side of my screen that has the suggestions, at the very bottom I have Guppy Duck, which is what I was showing you earlier. But I also have the option to do @A, and this is the @ symbol, by the way, just so I'm saying it like that. @A, @E, @P, @R, and @S. It actually does tell you right next to them what all of these actually do. So, for instance, if I give @A, so instead of using a player name, I can use this parameter @A. Now, if I give @A a diamond, I still get a diamond. Now, I'm playing on single player, but @A means all players. So, if there are multiple people on, doing @A makes sure that everybody gets the diamonds, not just me. Now the next option we have is @E. So give @E, now you guys can read here, it's all entities, a diamond. And you're going to see I'm actually going to get an error. Now the reason that is because the give command only works for players. @entity works for any entity. That means zombies, that means creepers, that means husks, armor stands, pigs, doesn't matter. If it moves, it's an entity. Now the reason that @E doesn't work with this command is that we can only give things to players. But there's other commands which @E will work that I'm going to show you guys in the future. @P is the closest player. So if I give @P a diamond, I'm just going to get a diamond. Now because I'm the closest player to myself, if I were on single player, or if I were on multiplayer, there were other people online, and I did @P, it's only going to target myself. Next up is @R. Now, @R is a little bit complicated, and I'll explain. But all this does is choose a random player. So if I give @R diamonds, I'm going to get a diamond because I'm the only player online. However, because if I were on multiplayer and I chose random, let's say I have like 3 other people in here, it's going to randomly choose one of those 3 players, and then it's going to give that player a diamond. So it's only going to choose random players unless we do some other stuff that I'm not even going to explain in this video. And lastly, we have @S. And if I type that in, you can see @S means myself, and we give it a diamond. Boom, I gave myself a diamond because @S means self. Now, those of you guys who are wise and astute may think, well, why do I need @P and @S if P is just the closest and then @S is just myself? For most commands you won't. You can actually interchange these when you're just typing them in your chat bar, but as we get a little bit further in, as we learn the execute commands, then you are going to actually be changing between @S and @P, depending on what you need. But these are called the targets, selectors, right? Because when we do a command, we also want to target. Just keep in mind, we have the /give, that's the commands. Next up, we have the target, and that's going to be either a player name or one of these options that we see on the side of the screen. These are your options, and that's what they do. Next up, let's just go through a couple other examples so you guys can learn more different types of commands. Next up, we have /enchant, which might do what you guys already expect it to do. If I type in enchant, you guys are actually going to see when you're typing in commands, it's going to tell you what the command is, and it's going to give you a description of that command, which is really good for learning. You can test things out on your own. So this one states that it adds an enchantment to the player's selected item. That means it's only going to enchant the thing that's in the player's hand. So if I'm holding a diamond and I enchant @self, @S, sharpness, you guys are going to get this error message. the selected enchantment can't be added to the target item. You can't just enchant any item, you have to enchant items that match the enchantment. So I can do the same commands, enchant add S sharpness. If I type that in now, you guys are going to see that my sword is now enchanted with sharpness. Essentially, the enchant is just that. It's going to give whatever enchantment you asked for to the item you're holding if that item can support it. You can't, unfortunately, just give diamonds knockback 500. You are limited by what you can normally do in an enchantment table or an anvil. And similarly, I can give myself multiple levels because after the enchantment name, I have the option to add a level. So I can make it sharpness 3, and now my sword has sharpness 3. Thing you guys might be wondering, can I give it sharpness 100? No, unfortunately the enchantment command does not let you give more than what you could normally get from an anvil. I don't know why, because there's other ways to get sharpness 100 not using commands, so I'm not sure why they limit it in commands, but unfortunately no, we cannot do it through commands. But you guys can see how enchant is structured very similarly. So we have the commands, we have the target, then we have the name, so rather than an item, it's the name of the enchantment. We do knockback, and then rather than the amount of items, it's just the level of the enchantment. It's structured very similarly to /give. So what about something that's not? So the weather command that we have right here, type in weather, you're going to see the options. You could ignore query. If you guys type that in, it's just going to tell you what the current weather state is, but you can also look outside. I don't know why that exists, but you know, maybe if I have a use for it. Anyways, let's see what the other options are. So we have 3 options, not counting query. We have clear, which is what we have right now. We have clear skies. We also have rain. And we also have thunder. If you guys wait a second, you'll hear some thunder, probably. Well, it is thundering. We'll hear thunder in a second. Just trust me on that one. But you can see this command is structured a little bit differently. Because weather isn't specific to a player, there's the thunder. I'm going to clear it up for us. Because weather is not specific to a player, we don't have a target. All we're typing in is weather and then the type of weather we want. We have these different options. If you guys look at this line here, we have, of course, clear, query, rain, thunder. Or you can look below that, clear, rain, thunder. These are the types of weather that we can choose between. So when we're typing in these commands, we want to see what our options are. The nice thing is, if you are on PC, you can press tab, and that's going to automatically fill the next option. And you can keep pressing it to get different options. If you have a specific option, such as thunder, you can type in the first few letters and then press tab, and the game's going to fill it in for you the rest of the way. I believe on Xbox, you can click right on the D-pad, the little plus sign. If you click the right one, it's going to do the same thing. I'm not sure about PlayStation, phone, or Switch. I think PlayStation and Switch are probably similar to Xbox, though. Now, with weather, we can also modify it a little bit and give it a duration. That's just how long we want it to last. Pretty simple, and I think pretty obvious. But that's it for weather. I just wanted to show you there are different formats of commands. Not all of them are going to be like give. And I'm, just for the sake of recording, going to clear the weather. Next up, we have time. So if I look out, we can see, can I find the sun anywhere? Hello, sun. There it is. There's the sun. So now with time, there's a couple of different things that we can do. And like I said, I chose a couple of different things because I want you guys to see the different ways that we can type in commands and the different formats commands can come in. So, time. We have a couple of options here. We have time, add, query, and set. Most of the time, you guys are going to want to use set. So, let's do that real quick. So, when I type in time set, you guys can see right above, these 2 lines right above the bar, I can either do an integer amount or a time specification, time spec as it's called. Most of the time, you can use the numbers. I wouldn't recommend it. You can, if you guys know what you're doing with the numbers, you can experiment with different numbers, see what they lead to, etc. But most of the time, you're going to want to do one of these options up here that you see on the left side of the screen. So we have day, which is what we are right here. Next up, we have midnight, which you guys can guess puts the moon right above us. Midnight. After midnight, we just have night, which is basically right at sunset. And of course, right next to that is sunrise. So you get the sun right as it's rising, or you can put the sun right as it's setting, which is a little bit higher than when we set it to night. But you guys can see what's happening. Because I'm using these commands, it's going to allow me to change the time of the world. But the really important thing to look at is this has a different format. Instead of like a target like we did with give commands, we just follow what it says. The options are add, query, or set. Query is going to just give you, is it the right time, essentially, yes or no. Yeah, I would just ignore it. You guys won't need to actually pay attention to query for the stuff you guys are doing. Now the other thing we can do is we can add time, and then we can just give it an amount, and that's just going to move the sun relative to where it is a certain amount. But really all I'm looking at is just showing you guys there's different formats commands can come. Just follow the suggestions. So after time, we have probably one of the most fun commands, and that is the /summon command. Now I'm going to go a little bit away from the sign so I don't, mess things up, and show you guys what the summon command can do. So if I type in summon, you guys can see there's a lot of options right here. However, with most commands, you don't actually need to fill in all the options. With the summon command, that's one example where we can actually ignore most of the stuff that's happening here. So we can do something simple. We can summon in a cat. Hi cat. Bye cat. And yeah, we have a cat right there. Now you might be saying, well, that's not really that cool because I can just get a cat spawn egg from the creative inventory and do the exact same thing. And you're right. But there's some things that some commands can do that you can't. Perhaps the best example of this is this. That's right. I'm actually going to kill it. You can see we just killed it, and I'll show you the kill command in a minute. But the summon command can actually summon in certain things that we don't even have spawn eggs for. One option to see all the things that you can summon in is just type in the different letters. You see, here's everything that starts with A. Here's everything that starts with B. Here's everything that starts with C. Here's everything that starts with D, right? You guys can just mess around with the summon commands and find the different things that you want to summon. The coolest thing is probably that you can summon a Wither or an Ender Dragon without actually summoning it in. And with an Ender Dragon, you can summon that outside the end to just wreak havoc. Although you will find the AI doesn't work too well outside of the end. But yeah, that's the summon commands. And just one other cool little thing that I will show you. If I want to, let's say, summon a wolf, but I also want to give it a name, I can just type in whatever I want. So if I want to name it after my own dog, Clyde, and I summon a wolf, boom, this wolf's name is Clyde. And you can do that for any mob. If I want to summon in a creeper named Todd, I can do that. So that is another option that comes with the summon command that is pretty helpful. I'm sorry, Clyde. Sorry, I regret that. I should have left them alive. I'm giving another Clyde. Welcome back to the world, Clyde. Nothing happened. Alright guys, but that is it for the summon command. There is a lot more complicated stuff you can do with the summon commands, but don't worry about it if you guys are just starting out. Now, on the reverse side, we have the kill command. So, you guys can figure out how this goes. It just kills anything. Now, of course, we do need a target. Similar to the give command, we need some kind of target. So, let's do kill at A. And you'll find it, I'm in creative, so I can't be killed. But I can do kill at E. I'm sorry, Clyde. Poor Clyde. Yeah, if I do kill at E, it's going to kill all entities. Now, that might be a little bit too harsh. Perhaps you don't want to kill everything. But you guys already saw what I did with the dragon. Perhaps we just want to kill cats. Well, then I can do kill at E. And now this is where things get a little bit more complicated. So I want to do at E for all entities. But now I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to type in a bracket. Now, I should point out, this is not a parenthesis, which looks like this. It's not a brace, which looks like this. It has to be a bracket, which is the square one. And now we have a whole bunch of other options, and you guys might be thinking, this is getting way too complicated. I have a whole video on these other options, but I'm just going to show you two right now that you guys are going to want to know, and you could ignore the rest of these. So if I type in type, I can just choose a specific type of entity that I want to kill. So if I want to kill anything that is a creeper, oh man, I could type that in. Now, of course, I don't have any creepers, so let me go and summon that guy back in. But you guys see we have this creeper here. His name is Todd. If I type in this, it's going to kill Todd. But my cat, wherever he is, just type that in again. Even though I did kill at E, it's only going to do the types that are creepers. Similarly, what we can do is name. So if I do name equals Todd, it's only going to kill things that are named Todd. So I have this unnamed creeper right here, and I have a creeper named Todd. So if I kill at E, name equals Todd, it's only going to kill the creeper Todd. It's going to leave the unnamed one alive. So those are two pretty simple examples of how you can do different things. One more thing. Perhaps you have a cat named Todd and a creeper named Todd, and you only want to kill the creeper named Todd. We can actually have multiple of these options together by putting a comma in between. This is a period. We're not using a period. You have to use a comma. They look similar, but make sure you're using a comma. So now I can type in type equals creeper. And now, anytime I have a creeper named Todd, I'll summon in another one. It is only going to kill something that is the type of a creeper and has the name Todd. Now this is really great because you can get really specific by combining different attributes of these what are called selectors together. If you want to learn more about these, I have another video on them, but if you guys are new to commands, probably don't look at that yet. I suggest, honestly, once you guys watch this video, just mess around with some of the things you see in this tutorial, get comfortable with them, and then keep an eye out for part 2 of this video. Finally, the last thing I'm going to show you guys is the clear command. So this is pretty much the opposite of the give command. So /clear, and then I'm going to do @s, and then I'm going to do diamond, and it's going to take my diamonds away. Oh, how they take our diamonds away from us. What a shame, what a tragedy. Now, another thing you guys going to see is I now have a stack of diamonds. I have 64 diamonds in my inventory. What if I don't want to clear all of them, only some of them? Well, I'm going to type in 0 because we look at the command suggestion here. We have clear, we have the target, which is @s, we have the item name, which is the diamond, then we have data, which is weird, and for most things you can ignore it and just write 0, so just trust me on this. And then we're going to do the max count. All that means is that's the max amount we can clear. If you remember, I have 64 diamonds. If I type this in, I have 54 diamonds. Let's say I want to take 20 away. Well, now I have 34 diamonds. Well, let's say I want to take 40 away. Now, I don't have 40. What's going to happen? Well, it's just going to remove the 34 I do have. That number is just a max. If you don't have it, it's just going to take as much of it as it can. But yeah, that's it for the clear commands. Hopefully this makes sense to you guys. For those of you who are new to commands, the most important things to remember are when you're typing in your chat bar, you always got to start with a slash mark, and it has to be this slash mark. If you do the other slash mark going from top left to bottom right, it's not going to work. It has to be bottom left to top right. Then you just type in whatever the options are. It'll tell you on the side of your screen. Make sure you guys type it in right. If you have any typos, it won't work. And if you have the format in wrong, it won't work. These commands that I show you in the video are really good ones to get started on. They're pretty simple, but they have a lot of fun things that you can do with them. I guess another thing that I could show you is that /give does have secret items, because I know people always love to hear that. So you'll have to find some of them on your own, but for instance, you can give yourself a barrier block. Now barrier blocks are invincible blocks like bedrock, but unless you're in creative holding a barrier block, you can't see them. So if I'm in survival mode, there's invisible blocks right here that I can't get past. You can't get these in the creative menu, you can only get them with the give command. And for that reason, commands are really useful even if you don't really know how to use them well. There's some other secret blocks that you guys can try to keep an eye out for as you guys are going through. But anyways, really the best way to learn is to keep practicing. So mess around with these in your own world, and once you get comfortable with them, keep an eye on my channel for part 2 to this series. And I wish you guys the best. Bye!